A debt rarely begins with a crisis. More often, it begins with something almost invisible: a meal ordered instead of prepared, a subscription forgotten, a purchase made because the amount felt too small to matter. One decision does not destroy a financial life, but repeated decisions can quietly build a system stronger than intention. Centuries ago, merchants in Japan understood this danger. They knew that wealth was not usually lost in one dramatic moment. It leaked away through habits too small to attract attention. That is the idea behind the 1 yen philosophy. Not that 1 yen can make a person rich. Not that every coin must be guarded with fear. The lesson is deeper. The smallest unit of money reveals the largest pattern of behavior. During the Edo period, Japan's merchant class occupied a complicated position. Merchants could become prosperous, yet social status did not always follow wealth. Many operated family businesses that had to survive poor harvests, fires, changing rulers, unstable prices, and generations of inheritance. Survival required more than profit. It required restraint. A merchant household could not treat every successful season as permission to spend. Income was uncertain. Reputation was fragile. Capital had to be preserved for inventory, transport, apprentices, repairs, taxes, and the next unexpected disruption. So merchants kept careful records. A ledger was not merely a book of numbers. It was a mirror. It showed whether the household was governed by discipline or appetite. A single coin mattered because it belonged to a pattern. If one unnecessary expense was ignored, others would follow. If one small saving was respected, restraint could become a habit. This was not miserliness, it was awareness. To the merchant, economy meant directing resources towards survival, continuity, and honorable trade. Waste was dangerous because it weakened the household twice, once by removing capital and again by teaching the mind that careless consumption carried no lasting consequence. The 1 yen philosophy begins with a simple question: what does this small decision train me to become? Modern debt often grows in the same way. Behavioral economics shows that people do not evaluate every purchase rationally. We use mental shortcuts. We treat small payments as harmless. We separate purchases into categories. We focus on the monthly cost instead of the total cost. We feel less pain when money leaves digitally than when cash leaves the hand. A $10 expense appears insignificant, but the brain is not only buying an object, it is rehearsing a behavior. Each repeated purchase lowers resistance to the next one. Convenience becomes normal. Waiting feels uncomfortable. Desire begins to demand immediate satisfaction. This is how consumer psychology turns a small habit into a financial structure. Debt then becomes more than borrowed money. It becomes the result of a trained relationship with discomfort. The person cannot wait, cannot decline, cannot tolerate the feeling of not having something now. Ancient discipline recognized that freedom begins where impulse loses authority. Samurai training was not designed for personal finance, but its psychological principle applies. Discipline is practiced before the moment of pressure. A warrior did not develop steadiness during battle. Steadiness came from repeated control in ordinary moments. Money works the same way. The ability to reject a major financial temptation is built by rejecting smaller ones first. The ability to invest for 20 years is built by learning to wait 20 minutes. The ability to preserve wealth begins with the ability to notice one coin. This is where opportunity cost becomes important. Every unit of money has more than one possible future. It can be consumed now, saved for uncertainty, invested for growth, used to gain a skill, or preserved for the next generation. When people spend carelessly, they see only what they receive. They do not see the future, they surrender. An Edo merchant looking at a coin might not see entertainment. He might see tomorrow's inventory, a repaired roof, or protection against a poor season. A modern person might see the same coin as part of an emergency fund, a debt payment, or an investment allowed to compound for decades. The amount may be small. The direction is not. Compound wealth is built from direction repeated over time. So is compound debt. Interest is often described as mathematics, but it is also behavior made visible. Debt compounds the cost of earlier consumption. Investing compounds the reward of earlier restraint. Both systems are patient. The question is which one your habits are feeding. The common modern mistake is waiting for a large income before becoming disciplined. People imagine that financial order will begin after the next promotion, the next business success, or the next unexpected payment. But more income entering a disordered system often produces larger disorder. Lifestyle expands, commitments increase, new expenses become permanent. The person earns more, yet remains financially fragile. Edo merchant families understood that prosperity had to be governed before it could be preserved. A household without rules could lose in one generation what another had spent decades building. Generational wealth therefore begins before wealth exists. It begins with family habits, clear records, measured consumption, and the understanding that money is not only personal pleasure. It is stored time, stored labor, and stored possibility. The practical lesson is not to become obsessed with every coin. It is to create small rules that prevent unconscious behavior. First, make spending visible. Record unnecessary purchases for 30 days without judgment. The goal is not guilt. The goal is to discover the pattern hidden beneath memory. Second, delay non-essential purchases. A 24-hour pause interrupts the emotional cycle between desire and action. Many wants disappear when they are denied immediate obedience. Third, remove one recurring expense that gives little value. Small subscriptions are dangerous, not because each one is large, but because repetition hides their total cost. Fourth, send a fixed amount toward debt or long-term investment before discretionary spending begins. The amount can start modestly. What matters first is the order of decisions. Fifth, increase the amount whenever income rises, before lifestyle has time to absorb the difference. This turns progress into a system rather than an occasional act of willpower. Minimalism supports this process, but not because owning less is automatically virtuous. Its financial value comes from reducing the number of desires competing for capital. The fewer things required to feel complete, the less pressure income must carry. This creates resilience. A person with lower fixed costs can survive disruption more easily. A family with savings can make decisions without panic. An investor who does not need immediate access to every dollar can think in decades rather than weeks. Wealth preservation is not only the defense of money already accumulated, it is the protection of future choices. The one-yen philosophy is therefore not really about currency. It is about identity. Every small financial action casts a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. One purchase says, "I obey the present." One pause says, "I remember the future." One debt payment says, "I am reclaiming tomorrow's income." One investment says, "I am willing to let time work before desire speaks." No single action appears heroic. That is precisely why the philosophy matters. Financial ruin often looks ordinary while it is being built. Financial stability does too. The cycle of debt is rarely destroyed by one dramatic sacrifice. It is weakened each time a person notices the small decision, understands its future cost, and chooses deliberately. A coin is small. A habit is not. And over a lifetime, the distance between debt and freedom may begin with the respect shown to what once seemed too insignificant to matter.